Support WrestleTalk!
Hello, I'm Adam. You know, whoever ends up helping me write these scripts normally writes the intro for me as well, which means that whatever I say now isn't up to me. I'm just at the whim of the scriptwriter, and today they've realised the power they wield over me, so they're going to make me say something silly. Molly wobbles. That's silly. Do I like working here? I do. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here's 10 wrestling news stories from this week that you might have missed. Number 1, real reasons for WWE firings. There's one thing WWE has been known for the last 2 years, is sheer amount of firings they've done, that and making more money than they ever have before capitalism, yay. 2 of the releases from September 2020 were Akam and Reza, or the Authors of Pain. After a bumpy road, they seem to be on course for main roster success, being placed into Seth Rollins' sexy harem of sexy boys. However, a bicep injury to Reza in March 2020 sidelined the tag team, and in September that year, they were released. Well, the reasons for their permanent departure from our screens, even after Reza healed up, has been revealed. In an appearance on Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions podcast, they attributed part of this to the fact they simply didn't want to work during the pandemic and turned down WWE's pitches to them. WWE had approached us with something different that they wanted us to do, and we were just like, hey man, we just don't feel comfortable doing it. At the time, that was the best decision for us. We decided to just stay with our families and stay home. Reza then expanded on it, saying that another reason they sat home was that WWE didn't follow through on a promise they made to the duo. We shook hands on something really big, and they didn't want to follow it up anymore after I got hurt and the pandemic started. So that's also one of the reasons why me and Sonny said, hey, we're gonna go home, right? If you make a promise and you shake hands, you have to act on it, or you have to cover promises. Once we feel like someone doesn't do that, we cut you off right away. That's how we are. And fair play to him. Number 2, WWE star contract expiration. Sticking with the subject of WWE wrestlers leaving the company, the trend from the last couple of years in WWE is that wrestlers who wish to leave the company will let their contract expire as opposed to requesting their release. As WWE frequently rejects those release requests, see the ongoing saga of Mustafa Ali. We've seen high-profile names use this tactic like FTR, Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson, as well as WWE stars using this trend to their advantage to help negotiate better contracts, such as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But now it looks like NXT UK's Flash Morgan Webster may be on his way out of WWE, as according to Fightful Select, his contract was due to expire in February, but talks on a new deal have stalled. Webster is reportedly currently signed to a short-term extension, but has not penned a new long-term deal as of yet, with the extension also due to expire soon. Webster hasn't appeared on NXT UK since last November, as he picked up a shoulder injury around the time and is reportedly due back in the ring in June, but whether it will be in a WWE ring or elsewhere remains to be seen. Number 3, Johnny Gargano first post-WWE appearance. As previously mentioned, Johnny Gargano was one of the people who let his WWE contract expire last year when he tearfully left NXT before welcoming his first child into the world, Hallow Quill. Gargano hasn't been seen in the wrestling world since then, although he has been streaming a ton on his Twitch channel, but now he's actually venturing out into the world once more, as his first post-WWE appearance has been confirmed. The former NXT champion himself confirmed on his Twitter that he'll be appearing at WrestleCon in Dallas over the WrestleMania weekend, and recently sent out his booking email address confirming that for the time being he'll just be appearing at signings and the like, and when he gets used to sleeping for more than 2 hours at a time, then he'll return to actually wrestling. Can't wait to see him back. Number 4, Tony Khan's announcement shocked ROH officials. Arguably the biggest wrestling news of the month was Tony Khan's shocking purchase of Ring of Honor, where he said, hey everyone, look at my shiny new toy, don't touch my shiny new toy. There's been a bit more detail about Khan's vision for the future of Ring of Honor, particularly with Supercard of Honor coming up, but the actual announcement on Dynamite by Tony Khan, so expertly impersonated by Luke.
3 years ago, you were there in the parking lot. That's Dennis Place. I saw you there. That guy was there. That 3 years ago. 17 years before that, Ring of Honor. Well, I now own Ring of Honor. I bought it.
Thanks, Luke. That announcement was seemingly quite last minute, as the deal had only been confirmed earlier that day. So last minute was it that former owner of Ring of Honor, Kerry Silkin, mentioned on the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling podcast that he and other Ring of Honor higher-ups only found out about the news at the same time as everyone else, as TK was announcing it on Dynamite. Number 5, Tony Khan on saving Thunder Rosa's title win. And on the subject of TK, Donkey Kong, and his booking, AEW Revolution was a marvelous show, but one of the criticisms of it was the AEW Women's Championship match between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, where Rosa was beaten via distraction and interference, and no one wanted that at the time. Of course, we now know that this was to build to Rosa defeating Baker in her hometown for the even bigger pop in a steel cage, but some fans still weren't a fan of Rosa taking a loss on pay-per-view to build to a TV match. Khan addressed this on Busted Open Radio, saying, I thought it was very fitting that 1 year after the original St. Patrick's Day Slam, which won the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Match of the Year, with a steel cage match in Thunder Rosa's hometown, I thought it was such an incredible way for Thunder Rosa to win the championship for the first time. And yeah, Touche, Tony. Number 6, praise for P.T. Williams. An oft-overlooked role within WWE is the producer, someone who helps put the match together, usually working with the 2 or more wrestlers in the match to make something special. Or, a 2-minute match with a DQ finish, but sometimes something special. Someone who's been working in WWE as a producer recently is P.T. Williams, famed for the old Canadian Destroyer, which he would very rarely hit. Hit it more, P.T. And according to Fightful Select, he's been getting huge praise backstage from wrestlers and higher-ups alike. In addition to this, Vinnie M has got a new backstage rule in place that Williams absolutely cannot be referred to as PT. Said it must be Pete or Peter. Great name, that. Pete. Isn't Pete a great name? Wonder who wrote this fucking list. Love Pete. Great name, Pete. What a tall name it is. Number 7, Paige Van Sant met with WWE before AEW. AEW's newest signee and American top team member Paige Van Sant has been embroiled in a feud with Tay-Conti and Sammy Guevara as of late, but she recently revealed that her being in AEW almost didn't happen at all. Appearing on Throwing Down with Renee and Maisha, Van Sant noted that she actually went to WWE headquarters last year and had talks with them, but what they pitched to her was a, quote, different plan, whereas in AEW she could continue with her MMA bare knuckle boxing and still let her be herself. So I guess we almost saw Paige Van Sant on NXT 2.0, though she probably would have had a different name like Gelma Fuddruckle or something. Number 8, AJ Styles trends after Ric Flair comments. Ric Flair's at it again, speaking on his podcast, doing his little thing, woo, etc., where for some reason he still doesn't like Bryan Danielson all that much. This is weird, because anyway, after heaping praise onto AJ Styles and noting that he was arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, which, you know what, yeah, Flair then mentioned that Danielson was good, but he's not AJ Styles. This riled up the Twitter machine, who then made AJ Styles trend with their thoughts, the primary one being that both of them are fantastic and should be praised about as equally as each other. Yeah. Go, you tell him, Twitter. Number 9, MJF praises WWE. Constant worker and someone I don't think ever breaks character, MJF has been at it again trying to get wrestling fans' jimmies all the way rustled. He made his return to AEW recently to try and keep Wardlow down some more, and has continued his heelish ways when speaking to Ariel Helwani, continuing to chip away at the idea that he could be heading to WWE once his contract expires in AEW in 2024. MJF heaped praise on Bruce Pritchard, as they both worked together in MLW prior to AEW, and then he mentioned that he loves WWE's current product, everything from Raw and SmackDown to NXT 2.0, highlighting that WWE has fresh faces right now and that all the shows are incredible. What a heel. And number 10, Brock Lesnar gives match advice. And finally today, it looks like the mystique that once surrounded Brock Lesnar has been slowly fading away since his most recent return to WWE, where he's now a lumberjack. Since then, he's shown seemingly more of his true self, his fun, goofy side, and less of the mean man who only likes money and doesn't care about wrestling side. As it turns out, he might actually like wrestling like a little bit, as Natalya recently revealed on the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling podcast that Brock watches all of our matches in Gorilla, and the last match that I had on SmackDown he watched and he critiqued and gave us feedback and gave us advice, told us what we could do better. He stayed there and watched, he cared, and it was so cool getting advice from him. He's such a badass, but I really look up to him. Brock Lesnar is a big softie confirmed. And that's our list. What's been your favorite news story of the week? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video around if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to WrestleTalk and make WrestleTalk.com your homepage for up-to-the-minute wrestling news, and never forget to jam that jam.